you doing this evening? Let me just do a couple things, let you get on here and let some people jump on. Let's have some fun with some of the things that um, are going on in the world. Kind of fun stuff. We're going to talk first about this idea of mask being necessary. The mayor of D.C., Washington D.C., decided to make masks mandatory to save the people. Of course, not if you're a government worker on the job. Then you don't need a mask. You only need a mask if you're not a government worker and you're not on the job. It just goes to show that no one really believes in the mask. No one believes in this stuff. It's kind of a farce at this point. Personally, I think if you have symptoms, stay home. Simple as that. I think if we do that, you should do that if you have the flu too, by the way. If you have the flu, you should be out there shaking the hands of your elderly grandparents and thinking that that's okay. We normally, when we're sick, we don't, go out and get around everybody. But this is the perfect thing that they've wanted, was this kind of, mask mandate. And they're hyping this up, and they got the convention in Jacksonville canceled, where we know, and I'm just going to tell you this just so you know this, we have had several people that we know who made appointments to go get, and were in line to get tested. And the line was too long, so they left. And 5 days later, 3 days later, they got a positive test result, and they never actually took the test. Once you make it profitable to do testing, to see patients, you create the incentive to say that you're testing people, say that you got COVID patients and all this, and you make it very profitable, there's going to be corruption. There is just no way there's not going to be. If we've learned anything in about 5,000 years, is that the evils, the love of money is a root of evil, and that people will do stuff for political reasons, for financial reasons. If I'm a hospital and I get to sit there and say, I have this many COVID patients and I'm going to get $35,000 per patient. How many COVID patients do I want in my hospital every single day? Just think about that. If I have 10 of them, it's $350,000 a day, $10 million a month for my hospital. For what? Because I had a COVID patient there. That's just a wrong signaling that we don't want. So that's number one. I don't think the mask help or anything like that. I'll wear one because it doesn't bother me. I don't care to wear one. I don't think we don't wear one in our house. We don't do stuff like that. But like our church is starting back up, meeting again on August 2nd. We meet on grounds of University of North Florida. We have no choice. We have to wear masks when we go there if we want to use those facilities. So that's just the way it is. However, I don't think it's helping anybody. Okay, it's funny because today the RNC canceled the convention, but at the same time, the schools voted to open up on August 20th. So if you can't have the convention because of COVID concerns, then how can you have school? And so it's all just political at this point, folks. It is the pandemic was almost the perfect virus for the left. Now, you got to understand something about the far left. One of the things they're afraid of is death, the planet. Number one, it always cracks me up when people say we're saving the planet. There is nothing more arrogant than to think that you're saving the planet. One volcano that erupts is equal to about 1,600 bombs of Hiroshima on Japan. Okay? We're not saving the planet. Okay? We can do stuff to clean it up. We can do stuff to make sure. I don't like people throwing trash. I drives me nuts when people do that. But let's not think we're actually saving the planet in that kind of regards, that we are the planet's savior. We are the planet's caretakers, but we're not going to save the planet. And we're not going to run out of oil or anything like that. I've been hearing that my whole life, and I'm not buying on that one either. Let's talk about virtue signaling. And, my son graduated Tuesday morning, finally got to walk. And, the girl got up and she gave a speech and said, I support Black Lives Matter. Makes you feel good, doesn't it? I do not support Black Lives Matter group, the organization. It is a Marxist organization. And I think I put Wiley's uh, video. He's a sports guy on FS1 where he talks of why he doesn't support it, and he says they want to break up the family. They're for Marxism basically through and through. And why would I support that? Nor would I support the KKK, nor would I support Hitler or any of those things. And so virtual signaling is a way of you never being able to say I'm a racist because I'm white, I'm a racist. By the way, I'm not all white, so that's a whole different story. But that's the kind of argument that if I say I'm for it, then I am superior to everyone else who's against Black Lives Matter. But here's the problem with Black Lives Matter statement. Who isn't for Black Lives? I mean, I'm for people. I am for people. Black, white, yellow, everything in between. I don't care. They're human beings made in the image of God, created in his likeness and his image. I am for people that sit there. That's why people get frustrated. And then they say all lives matter. And they get frustrated with that. And of course, those who, it's just interesting that we started this whole argument as if somehow we don't care. This whole thing started on the Trayvon Martin issue, which was a street fighter walked 4.5 minutes around the building and jumped Mark Zimmerman. Was Mark Zimmerman a perfect guy? No. They now call him white Hispanic. No, he was Hispanic. And, it used to be if you were partly Hispanic, you were Hispanic. If you were partly black, you were black. But that didn't fit the narrative, so now he's a white Hispanic. No, that's because they thought his name, being Zimmerman, that he was white. They found out he was Hispanic, and they had to change the narrative. Yes, that's exactly what happened. And I watched the whole trial, and Mark Zimmerman didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do everything with wisdom, but he didn't do everything wrong. Okay? He didn't do anything illegal, didn't do anything wrong. He never approached the guy. The guy went around the building. He could have went right around the building, went to his apartment. He came back, and he jumped Zimmerman. He didn't, of course, not knowing Zimmerman was carrying a weapon, and Zimmerman feared for his life and shot him, and stuff like that. And that's where Black Lives Matter started. Then we had, hands up, don't shoot, which was also proven to be a complete lie, never happened. And I still see people, still see protesters saying, hands up, don't shoot. And so what is virtual signaling? Virtual signaling is I have to come out, hashtag. By the way, your hashtag is doing nothing for anybody. It's making you feel good. Hashtagging Black Lives Matter, hashtagging gay rights is just we live in a world where we do nothing, feel good about ourselves world, but we don't actually make anyone's life better. You know why? No one really gives a crap about you or me. Let's just face it. The only one that I can be assured that cares about me, my family, my Lord, no one owes me anything. No one owes me anything. Government doesn't owe me anything. And when we get into that, we get into these two different cultures of the left. And I hear this all the time. And by the way, Candace Owens did this great interview. And I forget his name. He's a university professor in Texas. Two black people having this conversation coming from two completely different viewpoints. And it's on my Facebook page, Why Us Now. You can go there and like that page, Why Us Now. It's on Facebook. And same website, whyusnow.com. And you can go there. And these are people that I've listened to, like Walter Williams and Thomas Sowell and Shelby Steele and Jason Riley. These are people that are in the fight. This is them trying to help their people, as they would say, and have such wisdom that it drives me nuts. And it's helped me to learn over the last 25 years. And I can remember the first time that I heard Walter Williams, and I've been listening to him ever since. It's just one of those. Him and Thomas Sowell just amazed me in their wisdom and understanding of things. I didn't just realize Thomas Sowell's 90 this year. So I was always hoping I'd get to actually meet him in person. I'm not sure if I'll get that chance. But I don't think, no one I know, there's no one I'm around that doesn't think Black Lives Matter. They didn't just start believing Black Lives Matter. They didn't just start caring all of a sudden about Black lives. It wasn't like they flipped this year and finally realized Black lives. I mean, all the people I know believe people matter. I hope the Christians I know out in the stratosphere believe that. I have met racists. None of them are my friends, but I have met racists on both sides of the aisle, by the way. But I've met the Southern, I worked with a couple that were downright racist. I tell this story about on the same day at work, I had a white guy tell me I was the northerner. He used colorful language, but I was a northerner who released the slaves. And about 3 hours later, a black man told me that I was the effing white guy, slave owner kind of thing. Truth was, we were neither. My family didn't come to America until my grandfather didn't get until like around 1914, and we were neither. And I told them both that. But the idea that that's, by the way, that is prejudice, not racism. That's prejudice when you prejudge someone by the color of their skin, and that is the doctrine of the left now, and that's why. You do have a lot of people. A lot of these young adults are virtual signaling. We're for gay rights. We're for. Where are we not having these rights? Where are these rights? Can we don't understand that. What has been in my lifetime? I was born in 1965, so I was born at the beginning of a new era called the Civil Rights era, where we had passed it in 64, and by the way, because Republicans in the House and Senate pushed it, even though they didn't have the majority, they made it so. Lyndon Johnson didn't want to pass it, and one of the reasons why he doesn't run again, Lyndon Johnson said that he created the Great Society, and his scheme was this: we'll give away money to the point that we'll keep the African American people voting for us for the next 200 years. He didn't use that language, he used more colorful language. I won't use it here, but that was their scheme. And you see this two different cultures. And Candace Owens, God bless her, brought this out in this conversation, and that was this. It was said to her that we need to put politicians into office, basically, give us more. We need more. We need more money. We need more of this. Because no, we don't. We need more responsibility. We need people to own up to their life and to and I'm gonna pull up the video and tell you which one it is. I suggest you go and look at it. It is really phenomenal video, and sometimes and I wasn't sure at first where I stood. It's Candace Owens and Marc Lamont Hill. I think it's Marc Lamont Hill, yeah, and it's on my Facebook page or on my website YS Now under America. You can go down there. You're gonna see a bunch of videos from guys who are speaking on this matter from a more conservative, I would say, more conservative, more Christian viewpoint. With a little bit more, what I'd say, wisdom on the matter, and I think that's what we often need on this matter. And so let's look at some of the fun stuff today. Biden says Trump is the first racist president. Well, that's wrong. By the way, just because you had slaves, people will bring up, number one, people bring up Jefferson. Jefferson was one of the least religious presidents we had of the founding fathers. Okay, Benjamin Franklin and Jefferson were literally two of the least religious out of all of them. Okay, and sometimes people don't understand that they'd like to use Jefferson because he had slaves, and they like to point to him. But Jefferson actually was against slavery. And you go, well, he had slaves. Yeah, he tried to get rid of them twice and wasn't allowed to. Virginia law at the time forbid you to free your slaves. And also because he inherited them, he also had a problem with them being tied to the debt on the property because that was called collateral. And he couldn't just get rid of them and all that stuff. And not that doesn't mean that it's okay to not like a system when you're a part of a system. To think that you can't be a part of a system or like you have to abandon a system. You can't change a system you're not a part of. I really wish Americans, especially Christians, but the left has revisionist history. And so they don't want you to know that the Democratic Party had Andrew Jackson, which denied rights to the Indians in Georgia, had the Trail of Tears by moving them all towards Oklahoma. They don't want you to know about Woodrow Wilson, who, even though the Jim Crow laws had been written, he went about and resegregated all of the government. In the Reconstruction, they desegregated the government. After Lincoln's death and the Reconstruction, they desegregated the government. Woodrow Wilson, a staunch Democrat, resegregated the government and started putting glass dividers up and all that stuff and enforced the Jim Crow laws. Okay. Roosevelt was a racist. Big FDR was a racist. Yes, he was. And people don't understand this. That, let me just give you a couple things about the New York Times, who has come up with the 1619 Project. Revisionist. Do you know New York Times? Let me tell you their history. Number one, New York Times ran cover for Stalin and what Stalin was doing in Russia. New York Times ran cover for FDR at FDR's request and didn't cover Hitler and kept it on the back pages what Hitler was doing. The New York Times has repeatedly been false. It is not. I don't know how they get lifted up to being this like great newspaper, but they've been corrupt. CNN. You think CNN's corrupt now? We forget that CNN in the 90s was caught lying about Osama bin Laden and what he was doing. And when they were asked about the mass graves, they said, well, we knew about what he was doing, but in order for us to stay in Baghdad, we could not report on that stuff. And they were reporting complete falsehoods about Saddam Hussein. Yes. Do I think we should have went into Iraq? No. I don't think that was a wise decision. But at the same time, CNN has been on the cusp of lying about everything. It started a long time ago. They were never a great news agency. They were just the first 24-hour news agency on cable. But they were never an honest news agency. They've always been corrupt. They were founded by Ted Turner, whose wife is Jane Fonda. Trust me, they were never, ever this great, down the road, unbiased channel. We now know the New York Times has come out or has been exposed for the lies they are. Washington Redskins have decided to name their team for the year the Washington football team. I think that's beautiful. Do you know who came up with the logo and all that for the Washington Redskins? A Native American did. Yes, his son has come out and said, was upset that they were removing this because his father was so proud of the Redskin name and made the logo or something like that and came up with it for the Washington Redskins. And his father, who was so proud of the Washington Redskins, it was after a chief. It was the image of one of his chiefs, and he was so proud that he had the image of a chief on a national football team. And that, here's the single, this is the virtual singling. Oh, we got to stop this. And so they've been stirring this up for 20 years. And then, of course, eventually people jump on board. Yes, that's racist. We're going to have to redefine racism. Get it back to its original meaning. Racism is you thinking because of the color of your skin, you're better than another race. Let's talk about where that came from. Now, one of the worst things that was ever written in the 1850s was The Origins of Life by Darwin. But did you know something else Darwin and his cousin came up with called eugenics? And Darwin and his cousin believed this, that the lighter your skin, the more evolved you were. You probably didn't know that. You probably never were taught that Darwin was a racist. Darwin actually believed we should send, he suggested sending all Africans back to Africa until they evolved more and could fit into Western culture. Yeah. And you know what? He has been one of the foundations of the left's theology for the last 150 years. It gave birth to Margaret Sanger for Planned Parenthood. That's what she That's what she was after. She thought that blacks were evil, they weren't evolved, and you needed to exterminate them. And then it also gave rise to Hitler. Also believed that. That's where Hitler was trying to do. Create a perfect race by extinguishing everyone. Both of those came out of Darwin. Darwin is responsible for at least 60 or 70% of the evil that's in the world today because of the doctrine he taught and how it got so ingrained into the culture of the West. We started forsaking God and creation and in his image. And what happens when you forsake a creator? When you forsake that you were created, you forsake that you have a design. When you forsake design, you forsake your purpose. When you forsake your purpose, you forsake the fear of the Lord. And when you forsake the fear of the Lord, you forsake wisdom. Bill Johnson. That's a paraphrase of Bill Johnson. And so what has happened when we started slowly decaying our culture by removing the idea of a creator, the idea of design, the idea of purpose and the fear of the Lord, is it surprising that everyone's acting like anything goes? Is it surprising that Seattle and Portland and Chicago, by the way, Chicago Mayor Lightfoot, who is Chicago, she is a complete disaster. Look at Chicago. Corruption is the city. Parts of that city are just an absolute war zone, hellhole. And who would it benefit? I'm just waiting for Trump to just send in troops and say, we're cleaning it out for you. And I've got a feeling that if Trump went in there and got all the gangs out, I think there would still be some screaming and yelling. But if he got the drug dealers out, if he got the gang leaders out and locked them up, the baby killers, they just had 14 people shot in one day. And it's a peaceful place. It's a party to them. So, and here's the other thing that, I'm just going through some headlines here. Pelosi wants a $3 trillion Corona package, relief package. Of course, I am pretty convinced. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm probably pretty sure that it is full of garbage. Everything leftist. People go, well, we need to give money. You know how much money we have spent trying to right the wrongs of the past? $22 trillion. Here's the problem. Money doesn't solve issues when you don't have the right understanding. When you break down family, money doesn't help. Okay? When the family's broken, there is something broken inside the individual. Children are meant to grow up in a home with a godly mother and godly father. They need that. When we strip them of that, 70% of African American families do not grow up with that. Almost 30%, I think it's 25 to 30% now of white families do not grow up with that. And that is a travesty. We don't need, money won't solve that. You can throw money at programs. You need parents. You need godly parents. We need the church to rise up and get back in and do that. We really do. We need the church to arise in this and do that. I hate to say this because I really was not trying to say this, but Dr. Fauci is a fraud. I've done some research. He botched the N1 virus, swine flu, 10 years ago, where, by the way, 60 million people were infected. 60 million. See, I think that this virus was too convenient. I don't think that means that they made the virus or anything like that, or they purposely spread it. I'm not going that far. But they have used it. They weaponize everything that happens. And they started shutting down. Remember, at the beginning, Trump was a racist for shutting down travel from China. Then he shut down travel for Europe. Because that's all the president can really do. The president can't shut down states. I wish people would understand their Constitution. The president does not have authority to shut down a state and say you can no longer do business. He doesn't have the right to tell citizens to do that. Okay? And that's something that's I love. I'm just reading the headlines. It's just really interesting. You should look at some of them. what are we going to do? A black U.S. Marine waves U.S. flag at Portland protest, gets followed home by Antifa. See, white Antifas are going to tell a black Marine he's not black. He's not black. That's what they're going to tell him. How dare you wave the U.S. flag? You think this is about Black Lives Matter? Do you think this is really about blacks, or is this about tearing down America? The church has got to understand this and stop being afraid. We're afraid to speak out. Oakland mayor's home vandalized just before she votes no on defunding the police. In other words, they vandalized her home and she went, defund the police? No, I'm not doing that because my home just got vandalized. It's really, it's just crazy. Portland City Commissioner walks back claim that cops, not protesters, are setting fires. Let me explain something. There are people that I believe are peacefully protesting. That is not Antifa or Black Lives Matter. Okay? Those two people are anarchists. Those two groups are anarchists trying to overthrow cities. Okay? The left keeps calling them protesters. They're not. They're anarchists. Okay? They're anarchists. So Taylor Swift makes surprise announcements. Who cares? Yeah, I could care less about, her music either ways, but that's all right. Let's see. Bill Gates says coronavirus vaccine might only be effective under this condition: multiple doses. Why? Because you know who's behind the funding or the profits of coronavirus? Bill Gates is one of 3 people that are going to profit from the virus, from the vaccine. Bill Gates. We're going to need 3 or 4 doses of that per person. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Can you see his? By the way, he has made a bunch of money during this pandemic. So always follow the money. Always follow the money. Now, I want to tell you that I had someone sit there and say to me that Trump is not God's anointed, and because Trump had a bad past. Yeah. So, see, we either believe in the gospel or we don't. Lance Wallnau, 2015, got a word from the Lord that Trump was going to be the next president. He's going to be the 45th president. He says, he doesn't know me, but I'm going to reveal myself to him. And the Lord told him to go to Isaiah 45 for Trump. And it's a very interesting passage of scripture. Do I believe that God's using Trump? Yeah. Do I believe he's God's anointed? Yeah, I do. That doesn't mean I believe that Trump's past was perfect or holy. I certainly don't. But that's not the point. The point is not his past. The point is what he's doing now, not what he did 20 years ago. The point is, what is he doing now? And that's a problem with some people. See, if we're going to preach a gospel, let's preach the real God. The problem with the way we preach the gospel is we don't preach a real gospel. We get up there and preach, God loves you. We can use anybody. And then when he uses someone we don't like, that we just don't like it. We don't really believe the gospel. We just really don't believe it. I happen to be one who believes God can use anybody. I say this because he uses me. So, and I'm not president, and he uses me. And I was pretty vile. And if you want to go into someone's past and think that I could see why you'd use me because I'm so righteous. That's called self-righteousness. And you're in danger of judgment there. But go read Isaiah 45 and listen how it talks about in this process, I'm going to reveal myself to him, but not so that he would be praised, but so that the enemies or that Israel would know that I'm their God, and that for my name's sake, he says, for Jacob's sake, for Israel's elect's sake, he was going to use Cyrus the king. It's really interesting. God can use anybody. Now, my prayer for Trump is I believe he has given his life to the Lord since, that he's confessed all his sins before God, and that he lives righteously from this point on. That's my heart for everybody. If we believe the gospel, we believe in a great awakening, how many people on the left are going to switch? I believe a lot. I believe there's going to be some switching of leadership. I believe there's going to be people, and it's not, by the way, it's not Republican or conservative, or Republican and Democrat. We really got to start not treating things as Democrat, Republican. That's why I use the term left a lot. Now, the Democratic Party has become unhinged. It is gone. It is probably 60, 70% left agenda now. It is Marxist agenda. It has gone completely wacko. So that one is just, there's no way we can, say it isn't. It's just gone wacko. But I think that what we have to understand is God can use you and he can use me. But one of my concerns about what I hear a lot of times in the gospel is sin doesn't matter. I want to tell you something. Sin does matter. People go, well, sin can't separate you. No, sin will lead you astray. You have to understand that God is holy and that I can't sin in God's presence. I can't. When I got saved, I was a pretty good heathen. I mean, I was good. I was like Satan's top 3. And, I think he mourned for 3 days when I got delivered. But I also had to get delivered from my thinking, from my attitude, from my mindsets, I had to go and spin, and I would cry out to God, change me, because I knew even though that I was born again, I knew that my mind needed renewing. And I got in the Word day and night. And I'm so grateful that to this day, I still don't think that I am superhuman or, I'm not, that I'm not, I'm incapable of sin or something like God, or sin doesn't matter. Sin matters. Sin matters. I spent a lot of time with ministers telling them, repent. It's okay. And if you're telling them to repent, then it's because what they're doing is wrong. If we're telling the world to repent, it's because it's wrong. Sexual morality is wrong. Stealing is wrong. Paul says, him who stole, steal no more. So the idea that sin doesn't matter, we got to stop that statement and all that. All right. Hey, I want to just briefly announce, I got a new school starting August 9th. You can go to lewisdsiena.com. Just take my name, put a .com after it, go on there. A new school, Angels in the Atmosphere. And I am so excited to do this one because let me just tell you some of the things. I've written 3.5 chapters. I'm on chapter 4 now. I'm writing, but this is going to be some of the chapters. Ministering, angels ministering to the heirs of salvation, strategies of warfare. We're going to talk about how to be in the courts with the angels, how to understand the structure and how that applies to you when you're in that warfare. We're going to talk about different, we cast out demons. We're going to talk about what are demons, what are evil spirits, and stuff like that. We're going to talk about the structure of angels. We're going to talk about the role of angels. We're going to talk about Enoch and the Watchers, because when the Lord spoke to me about Salt Covenant, he then talked to me about Melchizedek and then led me into the Watcher Angels. We're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to have 2 chapters on angels and the courtroom. And I'm going to bring into the courtroom structure and stuff like that. 8 lessons. I really hope that you will go to lewisdsiena.com or go to my Facebook page, Lewis D. Siena, Facebook page and my ministry page. Go there and you can click on the link. $50 is going to get you all that plus 8 other videos of Bethel School Supernatural Ministry you get to watch. Plus I got some bonus packs. $50, you're getting about 16 to 19 videos. So that's really cheap, to be honest with you. And they're yours. You'll be able to watch them over and over again. Go back, take notes. You'll get to have my notes as well. So you'll be able to, I like that. We're going to do 4 classes live on Zoom. So you'll be able to be there with me on Zoom, and we'll be able to do that. And you'll be able to, what we do in that, and the reason we do that is we have time of questions and answers. So we have an interactive class together is what we're doing. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's the 3rd one. There's also ones on there for healing and the prophetic. And I'm really excited about those. So go in there, join me on that one. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be really informative. You're going to learn how to do some warfare with the Lord. So that's all fun stuff. I hope you will like and share this video. Do that, and that will really help me out. It does matter. If you go to if you could do me a favor, quickly do it. Go to my Facebook page, Louis D. Sienna, and like that one. That would really help me. And also go to my YouTube channel that I started. I haven't really promoted it much, but go to my YouTube channel, Louis D. Sienna. Look for me on there, and like and put the notifications on that one. That will really help me. Do me a solid on that one. It'll really help me with that, and to kind of get the word out there more. And because I'm starting to put some of these videos on there as well, and it just all works by algorithms and all that. So if you could help me. All right, so I think we covered some of the fun stuff for the day. Look, I'm going to be doing some more videos. I'll do one again tomorrow, probably during the day. But I've been doing a lot of studying and praying, and I really feel that the church is about to come to a place of breakthrough that that we need. Like there's something's about to break. I believe we're going to face a really serious challenge in the next couple months, but I believe that God will see us through those challenges. So what I want you to do is stay tuned. Follow my friend Jeff Jansen and Charlie Shamp. Both of them have really good prophetic insight in this hour. Jeff has got a new book that's he's writing right now. Charlie just wrote a book, by the way. I should do this, but I'm going to do this anyways. Charlie's got a new book out, Transfigured, From Darkness to Light. Charlie's other book that came out was really good. I read a lot, so you know. Mark Levin's book. I have no time to. I'm reading this one on the Russian gulags. If you want to see that one, I'll give you my book list here at the end. I'm watching this one on the Russian gulags. The gulag. I can't even say it. All right. And then Mark Levin's book, Rediscovering Americanism. Promote Charlie's. I've got so many books that I've ordered. My wife goes, "Oh my God, you're The Logic of God" by Ravi Zacharias. I haven't even dug into any of these. I'm reading that one about the Russian gulags, and it's pretty intense. And usually I could switch through books. I could run through them real quick. That's a book I just can't get through as quick as I like. So, hey, sign up for the course. Hey, like the video. Would you do that right now? Just like it, share it. And would you really do me a favor? I'll put a link here to my Facebook page. And you can just go on there. If you would just do that for me and like and share my page, would really, or like my page, and if you turn on the notifications on that, it would really, really help me. I know that sounds cheesy to ask for it that badly, but it would really, 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 really help me if, and I think that this would get you there. Let's see if this does it. I'm going to share it there and see if it'll come up for that. And if you could do that, it would really help my algorithms on that, because I'm really starting that new page. And if you could just go on there once I'm done with this video, like it, and turn on the notifications. Once I get enough people on there, I might start doing some live videos on YouTube as well. So love you. I really want you to know I'm praying for you. Love you. If you need anything, you have any questions, comment. I'll get to them eventually and let you know. I really believe that the church is about to, well, I'm going to get into that tomorrow. What I'm hearing from the Lord about angelic activity, courtroom activity, and how we're about to go to a new level and all that. But if you join me on August 9th, you'll get 8 lessons of that. And so you might want to join me and sign up for that. Go and do it. Even if you can't make it, look, even if you can't make the live presentations, I load up the videos the next day so you can go back. And even if you're not there live with us, it doesn't matter. You will still get them. You'll get notifications of the next video has been dropped, and you'll be able to sit there and watch every single video and get the manual and all that stuff and learn and study on your own at your own pace. So you don't have to be there live. I do them live just so we can have some interaction, but go on there and sign up for that, because I really want to help you to learn how intercession is your role. Everyone is called to be intercessors. Everyone is called to be in the courtroom. And I can't wait to talk about the one time that I saw one of my friends in the throne room. We actually passed each other in the throne room, which was really bizarre. My friend Sherry Shutt, we kind of waved at each other in the throne room. We were in this meeting, and we both went in there. We talked afterwards that we saw each other. It's pretty bizarre stuff. So it's pretty interesting stuff, and I want you to learn so your expectations will grow and God can take you places in Him. But go ahead, like this video, like my Facebook page, and like my YouTube channel, and turn on the notifications. I love you. God bless you. And hey, we're going to win. Jesus ultimately wins, but we are going to win in our lifetime as well. We're not going to be defeated. We're going to win. Yes, Jesus has the ultimate victory. We have the ultimate victory in Christ. But we're going to enforce the judgments written, and we're going to enforce the victory of Christ's kingdom here on earth, and we are going to prevail, me and you, in this lifetime. God bless.